back on another exciting episode of Starfleet Boy, where I have this sunlight, like doing this weird
You're
thing. I don't
bathed
know.
in
It's like
sunlight.
I'm bathed in sunlight. I don't know these 10 o'clock streams. I changed angles. I don't know if you
It's
noticed since.
nice. It's reassuring. It means that there's no hurricane, basically.
Yes, yes,
So every time I see sunlight, on your streams, it's like, okay, he's safe.
he's safe.
It's nice.
Uh,
Will you
we're
be
uh,
seeing Avatar: The Way of the Water, or will you ignore this film that apparently needs to be the highest-grossing film of all time just to break like even at this point?
I am going to go see it because my mom.
Oh,
She's
okay.
like I'm blaming it on my mom. We have Vengenium in the audience, by the way. Nice to see you, Ben. It's early in the morning. Well, it's not that early, right? It's like 10 is not that early. 10's a decent hour, I would
It's
think.
probably late somewhere else.
Yeah, it's late. We're an international show. By the way, Toddy, if you'll go over to Twitter and retweet, we're actually broadcasting on Twitter. Like, there's a
What?
live Twitter
I don't
feed.
believe you.
Yeah, totally. So if you're on Twitter, you can check it out and say hello if you want to, and
What?
you can retweet the stream right from Twitter. And I don't know why I have Uhura still in the background. Oh, I do know why, because that was our TOS discussion here. Let me change it to something
You can leave
more
Uhura.
appropriate. Look, we haven't had this one in
Oh,
a long time. Hold on,
that's
let me.
very true. We can't even see it though.
Yeah, hold on. Let me show the audience. I'm gonna remove us. Isn't that cute? Is
I like how he didn't just like you completely canceled us off the screen. No more voice, nothing.
Yeah, you gotta show you gotta show what's going on. So Tadia, I owe you a huge apology because I've been giving you a hard time on Twitter, like massively hard time about being late
Oh, I see.
on reviews and discussions and whatever else. Like you're,
Hey, when life catches up, see, you're a victim of this now.
I am. It's true. So, so I owe you a huge apology for shaming you for not
Well,
being on
I'm late
time.
because of family things. You're late more because of like business things. Business is booming, right?
Yeah, business is booming, thank goodness.
So,
And also, just in general, like changing of careers is like a upset. Like it changed around my whole. I had a schedule. Now I don't have like as reliable a schedule yet, but I'm working on it. So we'll get there. But just
well,
a
you're your
little.
own boss. You make the rules.
I do make the
You
rules.
have no
So,
excuse. Find your
so
schedule.
So, a little housekeeping. So, in order to catch up and not strain Starfleet Boy, because we do a lot of streams. Like sometimes I do a stream on Thursday nights. It's a Twitter Spaces stream, which you can check out, which is like a reaction with a bunch of other Trekkies, and it's a
That's
lot of
almost like a
fun.
live podcast for people that don't really know.
Yeah, but it's interesting because anyone can come on stage with us and chat. So there's no like
Yeah, you
you
can
know
ask to be like a talker, I guess,
Right,
like a
like
speaker.
like you can be a speaker and stuff like that and share your thoughts. So it's a really interesting format. So we do that Thursday nights. Then Fridays sometimes I'm on Text Trek, but also I don't want to do a Friday night stream that's late because it goes into the after dark hours because eventually After Dark might come back. So then Saturdays we've been doing our animated series streams, and then Sundays I do Trek Central. So what we're gonna do, the housekeeping here, real quick, and sorry, we'll get right to the episode. But what we're gonna do is Saturdays we're gonna put a hold on the animated series and use that time slot at 3 p.m. to finish the new Star Trek discussions. So like once we get caught up, so I'll finish
Prodigy?
Star Trek Prodigy, then we'll go back to the animated series until Picard arrives, and then we'll do Picard as a thing. So that's how we solve that problem. See, solved. Science.
I don't know what science has got to do with it, but it's solved.
Planning science, like
Yeah, okay.
logistics.
Logistic.
Like logistics science. There you go.
Fine,
Toddy,
you get your blue uniform. Come on. It's fine.
Toddy, it's a few weeks later. I just watched this episode again, and it still delighted me. So that's good to know. Like I'm
Oh
glad that
no. Okay.
it has a holding experience. What did you think of this episode? And if you could give a little summary of what you remember happening, and when did you last watch it, by the way?
I've rewatched it.
Oh,
same as
nice.
you, and I will confirm that my opinion remains unchanged, just like yours. Just so
What was
happens
your
my
opinion? I
opinion is
forgot.
different.
Yeah, let's hear
I
it.
don't
Yeah,
like
yeah.
this one very much. I
Oh,
think,
okay, okay.
yeah, no, I think just generally speaking, I think I'm quite over like AIs, and like the whole AI ships and what have you going on, especially in Star Trek. And I think that this episode kind of like it played too much into that, and I didn't enjoy like the joke of it, and also like the I guess the conclusion to the Mariner little subplot that they had going on in like the later half of the season. I wasn't keen on that happening anyway, and I wasn't keen on like the way they concluded it. I don't know. So this
You
this
were
finale.
were you on that camp of folks? Because I kind of was hoping that Mariner would have like an extended, like Boimler did, like an
No,
extended
I I was on the
time
I
off.
was on the camp or they where they shouldn't have done that at all.
Oh, like Mariner should never have even
Yeah,
left
we're
the Star
past
Trek.
that.
Oh, wow,
Like
wow.
we are now stuck in sinking sand. We're running on the spot with Mariner's evolution and growth. Tendi got some great character development. Rutherford got some backstory. Boimler was like bold Boimler this season, and we're sitting here with Mariner, and she's still going through the same bullshit that she was going through like season 1 and season 2, and it's like this is too late. This whole thing where she doesn't know if she should leave and come back, that was like a season 1, 2 thing max. It's too late now. It was like get over it, don't do it, and just like we know that she's going to be in Starfleet. Um, they should focus more on like the contrast between Mariner's way of dealing things and the way that Starfleet traditionally deals with it, and how they can implement her techniques or her like ideas into Starfleet and help like the whole thing grow. That's what I think. So I was just against
But
it.
that's
Like
kind of yeah.
the
No, go ahead.
moment she
Sorry.
left, I was like, it's stupid. It's dumb. I don't believe it. First of all, I didn't believe 1 second that she was gonna leave, and then she came back immediately. So I was like, not only was this pointless, but it's also like it doesn't even have like
She
any
wasn't gonna
long
leave.
lasting impact. It
She
was it
wasn't.
was weird.
I don't think she would have left, honestly. Like, I don't think it was in her heart
No,
from what I've
no.
seen. But going to Starbase 80 was the last straw, and I kind of understand. Like, do you really want to
I
be
also
on
didn't like
Starbase
seeing
80?
Starbase 80.
What?
I think it took away from the joke. The joke was Starbase 80. It's just a thing that people talk about, like, oh my god,
I
Starbase
need to go
80.
get my Starbase 80 shirt now and wear it, and
I didn't
then
like seeing it. I think that a lot of the a lot of the joke. This joke had been set up and it was really good, and it could have been like a recurring joke that was fun. But then they took it too far. They showed us Starbase 80, and so now it takes away. It's like I have Bob on the channel, but if I actually showed Bob, it would take away from Bob, right?
oh, sorry, I was hearing you twice for a second there. I accidentally turned on the
So you
stream
should
and I'm
agree
like,
twice.
no, no, I don't agree.
You disagree. You would
I
like to
disagree.
see Bob?
I don't think that you're doing the thing that I love about you, which is you create a comparison between the two things that you can't compare, like Starbase 80 and Bob. I mean, if you add another 8, if it's Starbase 808, it could be Starbase Bob, I guess. You know, like that could be.
Starbase 808 is like a musical thing.
It's like,
Starbase 808
oh,
is where they're making like beats all day. Um,
a Starbase Bob. I kind of like that idea. I think there should be a Starbase Bob, but
okay, well, forget the comparison that you don't enjoy.
I don't enjoy
Personally, I found the
it.
joke of Starbase 80 very, very good, but then like I feel like it kind of undercut the joke,
Well,
or
I
extended it too far. It was like a sequel, the sequel movie that just does everything the first one does, but too much. Um, and so that's that. Like I didn't need to see
fo-
Starbase 80. I didn't need to experience it or put a face to like the terribleness of the place.
folks
Also, I
tuning
like
in.
the
Oh, sorry, I
idea.
was just gonna say, folks tuning in, chime in with your ideas too, because
Oh
we want to
yeah,
see who's right,
I
me or Toddy. But go,
I
go,
like
go.
I like the idea. I like the idea of everyone saying that Starbase 80 is a shithole, but you don't really know if it is. Like it's not confirmed that it is because at the end of the day, you're watching Star Trek. This is Starfleet. Maybe it's not that bad. Maybe it's just people that are exaggerating it. But here you get confirmation that it's an actual shithole, and you wonder why it exists within Starfleet, right? So I
I
feel
know
like
why.
having the mystery is funnier, and I think it works more with like the overall vibe of Star Trek than actually showing a terrible place with junk people.
When did Star Junk People? Oh my gosh, that's terrible. When did Starbase 80 first get mentioned on Lower Decks? Do you remember? Was it season 1 or season 2?
I forget. I
Oh,
forget.
okay. Well, it's
I
I
can go
think
look it up. I can
I
look
think
it up. We can
yeah, look
find
it
this
up, but
information. This
it
is
feels
available
like
information.
it feels like we've had enough time of the joke
No.
and the payoff. You're like, no, this is season 7, maybe like a season 7 reveal, not
No,
a
this is not
season
a
3.
reveal. No, you do not understand, sir. Never show it. Never.
Wow, Ruben's in the audience. He says, I don't know what you're talking about, but I know Toddy is right. Dang, you already have a built-in. You have like a. You're like Elon. You have a like a standing crowd in the chat here, people standing for your wrong tweets. But
He's
by the
my
way, you did a
he's
really
my
right
Toddy bro.
tweet. You did a great tweet about the Gorn and Dayton Ward. I don't know if you saw Dayton Ward
Yeah,
retweeted it
I'm
and
hyped
said,
now.
"I
And
would
so I
love
so I
to
sent
write
that to
this
John
book."
Van Sitters. I was like, "Do you make this happen?" It was season 1, episode 6, in Terminal Provocations.
Yeah,
So yeah,
so I think
Starbase
it's a
Eddie was
good.
first mentioned in season 1.
I think we waited a good amount of time, honestly, to get the payoff. I'm just saying for me.
You can
I
have
know,
your
I
own
know how,
correct
yeah, I
opinion.
know how
It's
you feel
okay.
about it, but I also really liked the Mariner thing because contrary to what you're saying, my view of it is
I
that
have to
we
leave the stream. I'm sorry.
what.
I disagree. I'm
Dang,
getting good.
it's like, dang. I, I
Got
brought
a
you
heart
on here
attack.
for
You got a heart
friendly
attack.
for friendly discourse.
No, I can't
Like,
handle this. It's too much.
you're like here to dang. It wasn't even like this on our Lord of the Rings stream. What's our 12 Monkeys stream gonna be like?
Well, season 1's going to be interesting, actually.
Okay, awesome. All right,
Go
well,
ahead. Go ahead.
so,
Speak.
dang. All right, what was I even saying? Oh yeah, so to me, it felt like this season, Mariner did have something going on that was different from previous seasons because I didn't get the impression that she would actually um, leave Starfleet. Like in the past, I thought she'd get transferred to another ship or something like that. Like that was her fear. But her actually leaving Starfleet was interesting because, and I have to admit that I was kind of like, even now I'm still like wishing we had a little bit of a bigger Mariner leave Starfleet story or arc, which extends into season 4. That being said, the payoff or the reason why she comes back is pretty awesome. Like if you think about it, she sees the Cerritos in distress. It's definitely going to be destroyed if she or someone doesn't do something about it. So she like it made sense to me that she would come back so quickly because I would do the same thing. Like if like my ship, if I saw it being attacked, and calling in all the California classes at the end was like pretty rad. It's I watching it again. I had the same level of like hype and excitement and thrill at that ending. Obviously like
It's
we
like the
can
Titan ending.
yeah, kind of like that, but it was all the California classes all at once. Like it was pretty rad. That being said, like, there's a little bit of like, I mean, we always suspend our disbelief, but like how did there's always questions like how did all those ships show up at the same time? Like where were they?
I will grant
Like
them
things like
this.
that.
Technically, like these aren't deep space mission kind of ships,
True,
so
true.
they
That's a good
probably
point.
would
Yeah.
all be kind
In
of around.
local like
Yeah,
around each other they're doing maintenance and installing stuff. It was also cool to see all the different types of California class ships. Did you predict Admiral Buenamigo being a bad admiral from like pretty much the beginning, or were you surprised by it?
no. I mean, the second time viewing, of course, you already know like what's gonna happen. But like the first time, no, I don't remember thinking he was immediately bad. I just remember kind of disagreeing with like his whole pitch. Basically, I was like, this, I don't like that. I think it's stupid. and then it turns out to be bad. But it's because like I really wasn't expecting them to do like bad AI. I think that the bad AIs that they're doing with Jeffrey Combs and like Peanut Hamper, I think that I like that. Although they're maybe not AIs, they're like different beings, I guess. They're like a different species at this point. But like no, I wasn't expecting him to be that evil.
You said you were tired of the whole AI thing, and there's a lot of it in Star Trek. Like, if we just think about it for a second, there was Discovery with Control in season two. We've had what else? Do we have anything in Strange New Worlds that was like a bad AI trope?
Well, I think
In the
well
season?
Picard season one did it,
Oh yeah, Picard season one did it. That's right.
and then
And actually
Discovery.
season two in a way too, because like the Borg Queen's kind of like a bad AI, right?
I guess it gets more of a
She
plus
takes
because
over.
it's technically like Borg, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that
yeah. It's
I
true.
guess
It's
you can
true.
get counts as a different species. I guess entirely.
Right. Was there anything else bad AI? Let's think. Well, Prodigy's doing it with the living construct. But I think, there's a lot of like bad robots or bad like, not, like things like that. But I think that's like a constant in science fiction, first of all. But also I think this is like, I mean, I could see how you could get fatigued from it, but don't you think that this is like a topic that we're all going to kind of have to face up to at some point with all the AI doing crazy shit that's like going on? Like,
Yeah,
like
I
Facebook had to turn that thing off. There's
to,
like AI art. There's like
to
AI writing. Like, it's like a
to
lot of
give
AI.
to give Discovery some credit here. Um, I think that the way they're handling like the AI topic now with like the computer, what's she called? Um, I was like,
Zora.
yeah, Zora. I think that's better. I I remember like agreeing with Stamets in that whole thing. I was like, this is terrifying. Like there should be an off switch for Zora. And people were so mad, and it's like, yeah, but I have an off switch. You can shoot me in the face.
Which
So like,
is that the only off switch you have? Like,
would
I
you
feel
also rip out my heart? I don't know. Like
Jesus,
you
that's
can
not an
poison me.
off switch, Toddy.
There are plenty of things you can hit me with a car. There are plenty of things that you could do that would off me.
Good
And
grief.
so it's like it's kind of terrifying to think that this being doesn't have an off switch. But then I guess like
Well,
Q
you could
doesn't seem to
destroy the
have an off
ship.
switch.
Yeah, you could destroy the ship. You could disconnect the power supply, it says, or I mean, there's an off switch for sure. I mean, but
Well, I
I know
mean,
what.
yeah, it's not because you want to off me that you want to necessarily destroy my house. Maybe you want to keep my house and just destroy me. So maybe you can destroy Azora without the ship. Regardless, I think that kind of like the way they were addressing that topic, the AI topic, was more interesting. In like I don't know, they were addressing the fears that people have, but like it wasn't outright an evil AI that was creating like an army of drones or an army of like clone ships that would attack everyone. Like that's kind of overplayed. I feel like Star Trek has done it a lot recently. It's also been done, you know, endlessly within science fiction in general. Um, so
Okay, but
I didn't really need it here.
But don't you think this would have been an interesting like was there like an automated starship thing ever in Star Trek? Was this the first time we've seen an automated starship program? Because this would have been a great TNG or DS9 or Voyager. Well, not Voyager because they're not with the Federation, but I think TNG. This felt like it could have been a great TNG or DS9 like one-off episode, like a race to see what does it better, like the mechanical or the now now Ruben's on Facebook also to say Toddy is right. Ruben, I hope you're streaming the stream on Facebook, Instagram. I mean, sorry, Facebook,
You have to
Twitter,
stream it from everywhere now. These
Twitter,
are the
and
requirements.
YouTube. Give us the views, Ruben,
You
and
see,
get.
just because he agrees with me, now he's forced and obligated to stream on every platform at the same time.
Yeah,
It's
yes,
ridiculous.
and Ruben, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. Uh, if you believe Toddy is right, that's how you can prove it.
Share my opinion around. Is that
Yeah, share it around, like prove it to Toddy, and just like don't forget, you can do all those things. Retweet the tweet.
I do agree with you though. I do agree with you though. This does feel like a good TNG premise. I'm on the cusp of like remembering an episode that goes down this road. Like, or it could, I don't know, some maybe it feels similar to something that like um the Dominion War arc would bring. You know, where they would have like automated. I'm thinking of like the self-replicating mines here. I think, but like maybe an automated kind of like attack system or whatever it is. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, did we ever really get a TNG episode of like Picard or someone versus a computer? Like Kirk used to always handle that stuff, right? Like remember, like, but
Yeah,
I don't remember
I
if we
mean we
ever
got
got
like
like
Data playing the game there. I think
audience. You
that
guys
that
know your
dude.
Star Trek better than us. Come on, tell us
Bring
if
on
you're still.
fathery. What the
Yeah,
hell's going on? Bring
or
on
Ruben. Ruben watches it
the
like
connoisseur.
constantly. Yeah, it's true. Like, but I can't remember off the top of my head. But it would have been a great Star Trek TNG concept. So I'm glad Mike.
Yes, but it wouldn't have been as overplayed back then.
That's
Um,
true, but I don't know. I still feel like it was a fun way to. Well, so okay, but did you like how it all like tied in with Rutherford then? Like you didn't like that either, like the whole
yes, I liked
okay, okay.
everything Rutherford related. I think it
So
was
like
really
so like Buenamigo being the admiral that erased his memory
yeah.
and all that. That
Yeah.
was awesome, right?
I also
Okay.
like that. I also like that because it means that they didn't establish two terrible admirals. Like it's the one guy. He's completely gone off the rails. He's doing this and he's doing that, and you know, like at least it's not like oh my god, there's like evil people here doing Rutherford, this evil dude doing that. You know what I mean? Like there's enough evil people in Starfleet. I find, like proportionally speaking. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
if it's just the same guy, but no, everything Rutherford I really like throughout the whole season, and like we had some pretty big reveals I find here, and I actually think that they've moved that plot along quite well. You know, like they've been able to play that line where my impatience is like, okay, I need to know something now, and then they deliver on it. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
not like, oh my god, I really need to know at this point. I'm
You,
over it.
you know
No.
what show does this like the best so far, I think, of Star Trek? Star Trek Prodigy.
Yes, I agree. I think Star Trek
Like of modern Star
Prodigy.
Trek. I should say of modern Star Trek, but yeah.
So we haven't finished this first season, and you know I'm holding out to watch the whole season. Some episodes I don't like as much, like the most recent one, Masquerade 15, I think it was. It didn't really work that much for me, but
Oh, I hope I get to talk to you about that one.
I think I'm confident enough to say that Prodigy is probably handling everything it's doing the best out of all of like this modern
It's
era
such
of
a
Star
good
Trek.
freaking show, but we're here
It
to talk about Lower
really
Decks. But yeah,
is.
yeah, it's a really good show. Lower Decks is really awesome too. Despite you not liking this one kind of storyline or plot point with Mariner and the AI, you have to admit Lower Decks is also freaking awesome for what it's doing,
Yes.
right?
Oh
Like
yeah, no,
it.
absolutely. I think Lower Decks is a great show. And like again, I didn't dislike this episode. I had fun watching this episode. You know, it was just these two specific things, like the Mariner thing and the AI thing that I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of. So it was kind of like, okay, you know what I
You have
mean?
AI fatigue, and you have like, all right, just leave already. Don't threat. Stop coming and going. You're like,
No, it was almost just like we get it. You're not gonna leave. Can we like move past this thing? I think that this season grew Mariner's relationship with her mother, and that was good. I like that. I appreciated that. But like Mariner on her own, I didn't. I don't think she grew that much. Like she,
I think
I
she
don't.
was. I think she was like. I think she did to me. I feel like she through her crisis she kind of like became a little bit more vulnerable and like let out a little bit more of her personality that we don't normally get to see of vulnerability, and I thought that was a pretty interesting thing. It was interesting how like she and Boimler kind of switched places a little bit this season. Like Boimler was more risk taking, more like of a leader this season, more like confident in general, or just willing to try
Hmm.
something. Whereas Mariner was like a little bit more of taking a seat and a step back. And if you think about her crisis, though, like she was pretty much on. I mean, it's funny we find out that Ransom was never gonna like push the button, like, so to speak, the nuclear option, if you will, because he was surprised when Captain Freeman's like, "You're going to start." He's like, "No," like even he's like, "What are you crazy? Like, don't do that. Like, she's not that bad. Like, come on, let's keep her around." Um, so and also I think I don't know if you to me it just felt like the heartbreak was a lot from the previous episode, like where everyone including Jennifer, by the way, who I hope she never gets back with Jennifer because I'm over her, but including Jennifer, who's supposed to be her partner, was like very rejecting of her and accusatory and totally blamed her for something that she didn't do, and even us as the audience. That's why last episode, the previous episode, really got me in the gut, like when no one believed Mariner, and here she was, the one person that did the best interview, like the nicest, sweetest interview, like about family and like the family you find and stuff like that. So I feel like it made sense to me that she would. I'm not trying to convince you that that was right, by the way, so we don't have to argue about it. But I'm just saying, like, to me, I'm not trying. I swear, I promise, I'm not trying to convince you. But, but to me, it made sense. That's why it made sense, because like it was such a huge dejection. But going back to this
So
episode. Oh, go ahead.
I want to interject here. On my end, the whole thing where like Mariner, there's a big confusion about whether she said something nice or bad. So
Mm-hmm.
that was the previous episode, right? That's like
Right. Correct.
the setup to what was delivered in this one.
Right.
All of that, like I really hated, because like I was like, we as the audience know, like I'm not a moron. I know she's the one that said the good things. I understand that. It was too obvious. Like it was not subverting expectations or anything. It was just like it's
I
evident that
I
she
fell for
said
it. No, I fell for it.
well, I didn't. And then second, the fact that like, so I guess you could have a point in saying that like Jennifer was her partner, so she should have had more faith, so that like it's less justified. But the fact that everyone believed that Mariner said something shit, I think that that's not on them. That's on Mariner. It's because you base your opinions on previous experiences, and up until now, she's always been that person doing that thing. So like, why would you expect anything different, and why would you expect the people to expect like you to not do that? You know what I mean? It's like that's on you. You are always like this. You've never shown any kind of like wavering or difference in how you are. And then this one time where you're not like that and you actually do something different, you get mad at the others because they weren't expecting you to be different.
I don't think she was
That's a bit
mad.
unfair
I don't
on
think she was
them.
mad, more
She was
than
disappointed,
disappointed.
but like it doesn't make
Jinx.
sense. It doesn't make sense to be. It's
Why?
like that's on you.
But she could have been disappointed. I think it's fair to
If
say that
if
she
I'm
could have
going
been
to do
disappointed
something,
equally in herself as in others. Maybe she. I get the impression that Mariner was very aware that people would react this way, but it's still disappointing because these are your pals, and for most, and especially the lower deckers, the main cast. I thought they were a lot better than the others. They were trying to, like I think Boimler was like, "Oh no, Mariner, like that's just what people think." Like he said something to that effect, like don't
mm,
let it get you down or whatever. And then later in this episode, he actually admits that he should have been more encouraging and more supportive. And I agree, like. At least her friend should have been like, Mariner, let's talk about this. Like, what's the solution? Let's figure this out. Let's like not let it end this way. You know what I mean?
well, no,
Like,
like someone
it's
should have
like,
sat down and said, "What did you say?"
yeah,
And
or
then
just
Mariner,
ask her.
and
Yeah,
then
exactly.
Mariner should
Yeah,
have said, "I said this." But
right.
then throughout the entire episode, you could also say Mariner at some point she could have had an outburst and said, "I said only nice
She
things."
kind of did in the like you kind of get that impression. You're right, she could have also said that, but like I don't think it would have made a difference in that moment because she kind of is surprised when
No,
Captain
it's because
Freeman
not
is.
only is she too proud, but she's too happy to be proven right. She enjoys the fact that they all think she's terrible, and she's right about that. You know what I mean? Like Do you get what I'm saying?
No. Explain yourself, sir.
Mariner went into this saying only good things, knowing very well that they would all think that she screwed everything up, and she
I
was
actually
happy to be proven right about that, and then so she would not let it go because
I think
I don't know.
Mariner went into
If I
this.
were to do
I
something
think
completely
this
out of character, like completely, if I were to go and do something completely out of character that I think would like kind of like maybe offend you or shock you based on like the impression that you're gonna get, you or father or anyone, I would beforehand tell you, hey, I'm gonna do this. I would have told like at least my pals, Boimler, and I'm gonna go in there. I know I'm not allowed, but I'm gonna say only good things. No matter what happens, believe me, trust me, I'm only gonna say nice things. She doesn't do that though, because she wants them to get mad so that it proves her theory right that everyone only thinks ill of her.
I think your inference might be a little bit of a stretch, and I'll tell you why. Because in previous seasons, I think I could agree with you, but this season she's worked so hard to get to the middle ground. Like she constantly has like been showing, and I think that's her growth. Actually, is that like before she would just take matters into her own hand and then just do it. It takes her a lot. This taking matters into her own hand is like way different from previous Mariner taking matters
Jumping off
into,
the elevator.
yeah, just all those things. Like you could see throughout the season, it gets more and more like where she's like, all right, I know when I can do it and when I can't. But this was like too much. She was seeing that. I think she was just seeing that like this reporter wasn't getting the full Cerritos story, and she was just like, no harm, no foul. Like obviously, she was thinking. I think if I have to imagine what she was thinking in the moment, she was thinking like, yeah, like I'm looking at who they're interviewing and I'm looking at like all these things, and they're not going to get the full perspective, so I'm just going to go ahead and step in here. And it's Ransom who I think is the one who, you know I think Ransom is a little bit at fault because, yeah, you're right. Based on like previous Mariner experience, like his reaction to her when he sees her at the door with the reporter is fair. But he's been working with her all this season, and he's
Yeah,
seen her grow, and he's
that I agree.
remarked about it too. So I think it's also on him to have brought that to the captain with that
That
intention
tone, right?
tone. Yeah, exactly.
That I agree with.
Yeah.
That I agree with. Ransom should have given her more of it, like the benefit of the doubt.
Or
Ran
Aster, now they have a relationship where he can just be like, "What the
That's
f
very
was
true.
that, Mariner? Like, like what were
Ransom.
you doing?
Well,
Like."
she's very defensive, right? So maybe he wouldn't have gotten a straight answer out of her. But like, no, I do think that Ransom jumped way too quickly back to the before Mariner, so to speak. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, 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 yeah. I
Okay.
think he
Because
like totally. Yeah, yeah. I
you
agree.
froze or something. I was like, what the hell?
No, I
I've
was thinking
broken
about.
you.
I was thinking about
No,
it.
I agree with you on that, Ransom. So it is a situation where everyone's at fault, but I don't see Mariner like victimized in this. You know what I mean? It's like, what were you expecting? Oh, you
It's
were
still.
expect. I know
That's
that you were
why.
expecting this, and I think what she was not expecting was the whole Starbase 80 situation.
Right. But that's the disappointment
No
part,
one
right? Like
expects the
no one
Starbase
expects
80.
her, except me. I'm fully. Do you know what the Church of Bob is, and like the
The
whole
Church
slacker?
of Bob.
Yeah, there's a real thing. Like you
This is
mentioned Bob earlier.
unrelated to my Bob
Yeah.
character, by the way,
Although it could
people.
be, you could start making it related. Anyways, it's the Church of the Subgenius. It's like the whole slacker kind of mentality that like grew out of the 90s of like, kind of being a slacker and stuff like that. And I feel like Starbase 80 is the
Being a
ultimate.
slacker.
Yeah. So Starbase, yeah, it's something only 90s people, you weren't even born in the 90s, right? Like you were just
Well, I
like,
was born in like '92, so I probably wasn't. I was
yeah,
probably
you were.
slacking quite a bit actually. No, I was like a
Yeah,
baby, so they don't
it's
do
true.
much.
They don't do much. It's true. Not anymore. Like
Like, get
back
off
in
your
the
ass, kid. Do something.
in the 1800s, they used children as laborers, but no
Oh
longer.
yeah, there
Thank
was
it.
farming. They were like 4 years old.
Yeah, it's true.
Gotta grow them crops, yo.
I think there's some little farm jobs that kids could enjoy that are safe and not too laborious. Like you have
Well,
to.
yeah,
I feel like you
you
have to
don't give like
expose.
the kid a scythe, right?
Yeah.
Like, know what I mean?
The image. It's like I just see like a little kid with a freaking scythe, and you're like, oh my god, this is a
No,
disastrous
there are more
image.
acceptable things to. You can go pick up the eggs. Clean up the chicken coop.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. Have you ever cleaned eggs? Toddy, have you ever gotten fresh eggs from a chicken? Have you ever tried that?
I have. Yes.
Oh, have you ever tried milk from a cow, like a straight from a cow?
Yes.
Oh wow, I'm
My
impressed.
my family's from the farm, so like
By the way,
I'm not as casual as like my farming cousins are about it. I'm more of a city boy. They would tell you that. But
yeah, yeah.
but no, I have experienced the experiences of the
What
farm.
I've always wanted to taste milk fresh from a cow. Is it like much better than like milk that you buy at the store, or is it just like nothing, not a big deal?
No, it's very different. I don't
Oh,
know if it's
really?
better. It's
Uh,
very different.
just
I mean,
very different.
first of all, it's warm, right?
Mm.
Because it's coming straight from the udder. But it's also like very rich, very creamy. It's more of a
Mm.
strong kind of like
Like a
taste to it.
taste. Like, do you taste like the grass? Like the.
I wouldn't say that I tasted the grass, no. I'd say it has more of a milk taste, to be fair.
I don't even know what that was. Sorry. All right, back to lower decks yet again.
I think
I thought
depending
it.
on the grass that they eat, it has like different. I'm not that much of an expert. Maybe someone could tell you that.
I thought of you in the finale because when they were going through the race with the Texas class starship, and they get to that one planet where Tendi detects the microbes.
Mm.
um the lower deckers lose their patience a lot. They're like crazy. There's a lot of like comedic moments, but didn't you think that moment was like super awesome, straight played? Like it was just like, even Dr. Teano was just like, she wasn't like f this or f that. She was just like, don't worry about it, kid. Like sometimes those phases, whatever, something particles, they throw off the communicator. And even Captain Freeman's like, she shows a little frustration, but she's like, "Oh no, we got to do this. Like, there's possible life forms. Like, this is, it showed like even Jack. He's like, everyone stop what you're doing. Like,
Yeah,
like there was a real seriousness, kind of in that moment. And I was like, oh, I wonder if Toddy appreciated
a
this scene.
professionalism,
A
right?
professionalism. Yeah, exactly.
And
I was
yeah, no,
gonna
I
say,
do
I
think
wonder if
so.
Toddy appreciated this
It
scene.
contrasts with like the ridiculousness of like the race
Right,
concept
right,
that we're
right,
doing, because
right.
like Starfleet wouldn't really. I mean,
You also don't need to
when
race
I
to do those
when
things.
when
Those
I
things should be
say
installed with care. It could take a few days. Like, yeah,
when I
yeah, yeah.
say Starfleet wouldn't do this, it's false now because this is canon. So
Yeah, yeah.
Starfleet
So
does
Starfleet
this.
would actually do this.
Um, in this,
And
I guess,
remember,
in
it's
this
a
particular
one-off.
situation, right?
It's a
In this,
one-off
like,
thing.
yeah, in this specific situation, some Starfleet officer, they're all, I was gonna say human. No, they're all life forms, and they all have their faults, and maybe someone approved this, and it was stupid. But no, so in this like very ridiculous kind of like race scenario, that they were doing, yeah, it was nice to have this like, okay, calm down, settle down, we're gonna do this. It's gonna take a little more time. We're gonna be late, but we have to do this. And ultimately, it's like, I guess it comes back to what you were saying. It's better to do things slowly and do things correctly than rush them. And I think that that's kind of like the I don't know, like the positive of having an
The
actual crewed vessel,
right.
where it's like, we're gonna take our time and then we're gonna inspect this. If it takes a couple days to figure out if this is a life form, then it takes a couple days. But it's important stuff. Like what is a couple days in your life compared to like the possibility of this becoming an actual species at some point, right? Like that's not something that you can play with.
Yeah, totally. And also I think it was just like cool that that was the thing that Captain Freeman used to take down the automated ships, like
Mm.
to like propose that, and that she was going to take it back to the to the council or whatever, and present it. And Buenamigo was like, oh crap, that's going to be an end to this project, because yeah, that's like the highest priority.
It was
you know
almost a Data's kind of like trial aspect to it, or no? Is
I
that just me
well, I'm
reading
waiting.
into it?
No, I'm waiting for you to expand on that, because I'm trying to see it. Yeah.
No, it's because like I guess like the I don't know. It's just because it's different life forms, different comprehensions of what life forms are, and like the importance of preserving them.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I guess yeah. Also, it's more like a. I feel like it reminds me of that. I don't know if it was like a. I guess it was kind of like a nod to the Ugly Bags of Mostly Water episode. Remember, like that they didn't.
Oh yeah, the petri dish life form thing.
The thing that was trying to kill the people on the base on the planet with, and they were sparkling in the sand, remember, and they were giving off like
Oh,
the
okay.
terraforming planet, the
Yeah.
TNG
That's it.
terraforming planet. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that was an example of that too. And then yeah, they
They
eventually become
struggled
this
to
like,
communicate throughout the entire episode. Is that it?
right,
Something like that?
yeah,
Yeah.
like yeah, the sparkles are not random, they're not random, there's a pattern. And then later eventually it becomes this like multi-being thing, like a crystalline,
Mm.
it's a silicon based life form is what it was, I think. And that's why they hadn't initially detected it. But some of them suspected and didn't do anything about it, and we're still doing the terraforming, and that's why it's bad. So it's like ugly bags of mostly water.
Yeah.
um what were your thoughts
You
just
really can't send just like just two people or three people. Like you need to send an actual party of people on these missions so that like you know what I mean. Like you need to have I guess damage control or like parachute people.
right.
You can't just have like two people say let's terraform it because you don't know. Like you need more people to kind of like intervene in case. But I
Well,
mean, there was
yeah,
plenty of people on that episode and they were all dreadful.
but also like how would a Texas, I mean, I could understand the Texas class doing like maintenance things where it's like, oh yeah, drop off a prefabricated module to
That's fine.
replace, to
Automated drop
replace
offs,
like,
automated repairs. Yeah,
yeah,
that's fine.
to replace like a a faulty unit or something that is literally like a swap, like beam in and beam, beam it, beam the new one in, boom, you're
To
done,
be fair, I actually think it would make sense for stuff. So we've started seeing like the dot
the dots,
robots,
yeah.
that kind of stuff. I do think that it would make sense for Starfleet and the Federation, and actually like all of these big space, empires or organizations. It would make sense for them to have like automated ships zooming across all the time. Like sometimes, that subspace relay or whatever it is, it needs like a
Oh yeah,
replacement
like just
thing. Like
hygiene,
you're gonna send
maintenance.
someone over there? No, just send a friggin' teleport ship. It's basically like just a cargo like square, and it goes over, and then it beams the part onto the new thing, takes the old one, and then it just comes back. Right? It would
Yeah.
make sense to have that.
And by the time of Picard, you have like quantum storage technology too, so you could store like massive things in a
Oh, I
pattern
forgot
buffer.
about that. That's right.
Yeah, you could store massive things in a pattern buffer without like degradation and stuff like that. So you could easily like have a lot of
Quantum storage.
isn't it quantum archives, right? So like I'm gonna call it quantum storage.
That's fine. I accept it. It sounds cool.
It does.
It's
It sounds
you be
cool.
writing for sci-fi. Quantum storage.
What is what is your overall impression of the Texas class though? What did you think of the ship?
I liked it. I liked it. I think
Yeah, it was pretty badass looking,
it
right?
was it was yeah. I was gonna say it was cute, but
Yeah, it was
badass can
cute.
work too.
Our friend Father was upset, actually, speaking of cute, that it wasn't bigger. He
But
was
there's no use. There's no need, right, for it to be
right, with
bigger.
quantum storage, you don't need a big ship actually. You just need like what you said, like a small drop-off
But
ship. Like
also, there's no crew.
yeah, there's no crew also, yeah.
So like the only places you would really need like for it to be, I guess, adaptable for like people is a couple rooms. Like maybe the bridge, you would still have room to put someone on it, engineering, and then like just in
In
case you need to do maintenance. But most of the ship is probably just Jeffrey's tubes.
in Voyager, was the fake Dauntless a unmanned ship?
The NX, the fake thing there
The
you're talking about.
Remember the Dauntless is based on like this fake ship that a guy created to trick
Yeah, it's the NX. Oh, something I think it
something,
was.
whatever it is. But isn't that ship automated? Like, wasn't it like wasn't the premise that it was like that Starfleet sent it over
Yeah,
automated
yeah.
to pick
Well,
up
it's it,
the
it's a it's a much smaller ship.
Well, not anymore, right? The Dauntless on Prodigy is huge. It looks
No,
like.
that's
Well, compared to
massive. I was
yes.
not expecting it to be that big. The moment it comes into shot next to the, I was like, "Oh my god, it's huge!" It's also a lot more ugly than the one you're talking about.
Oh, you
But
have the Dauntless? What? Oh, this is a treat. I haven't seen. I'm gonna put you full screen here in a second.
well, I don't have the Dauntless. I have the fake one. Right, this is the NX-01A, the fake one from Voyager.
Oh, hold on. Let me see. Hold on. Let's put you on full screen here. Oh, look at that. Can you show it from the bow? Oh, look at that. Interesting. It does look a lot like the one in Voyager,
It
but
looks
it's
a
like
lot, except Voyager. I think like
has
what is it?
more.
The
Yeah.
nipples
I
are
mean,
more
sorry,
on the
in
back.
Prodigy, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, but yeah, it's like I mean, based on Windows and stuff, it must be pretty huge still.
Yeah, now that I'm looking at it. Very
But I feel like
cool.
I feel like it was smaller than Voyager though, and Voyager is not the biggest ship.
I feel like it was not smaller than Voyager from what I remember, but
Really?
I can't remember though. It's like- we'll have to like do a size comparison at some point. All right, so but regardless, so you like the Texas class. Well, we're coming up to about the hour mark here, Toddy. So I think just wrapping up on. Well, was there anything I missed that we have to talk about from this episode? Audience, let us know
No,
if we didn't
this
talk.
was a pretty straightforward episode in my opinion. I do, but yeah, no, I do like all the professionalism that was going on with like the bridge crew. They had the conferences, all that, and even though I am not the biggest fan of like Mariner's kind of like side quest, I really liked like the archaeological kind of
Oh
like
yeah,
Indiana
that is
Jonesy kind
something.
of scenes that they were doing. That was fun.
That is something that we didn't talk about. What did you? I don't know what you think of Captain Aberdeen, Petra Aberdeen, and the whole Picard funding her and all that stuff. What did you think of that little story?
Um, she's fun. She's a nice like little
Yeah,
side character there. Like I see she's like a Devash
to
to like
Mariner.
Marin. Yeah, Marina's Devash, I guess.
So do you hope we'll
But
see her
she's
again?
not
I do.
necessarily evil. She's not necessarily like nice. She's just out there doing her own
She's
thing.
neutral. She's kind of neutral.
Yeah,
She's kind of like, but she's over Starfleet.
she's what they
It's
call chaotic neutral. Is that it?
chaotic neutral, I guess. Yeah, or neutral good. Maybe is there a neutral good? She's
I don't
neutral.
know.
I don't know.
I don't know these
But
things.
I was chuffed as all hell to see that Jean-Luc does things like um, funding these archaeological rogue missions to get pieces
Remember
back
my
into
pitch for
museums.
Picard season 1?
Yes, I know. I kind of love it. Like now I'm like, why did they do that? It's true. I kind of, it's true. Wow, Toddy's like sitting on his high horse right now. Like,
No, but I was like, I have this pitch, and I was like, this is it. And then when they revealed all the actors for season 1,
you were
I was
like,
like,
this is
okay,
what they're
well,
doing.
this
Yeah,
is what
like...
they're doing. I was like, this guy's this guy, this guy's that guy.
I do remember that was an exciting pitch.
Ah,
I mean, you know what though? Like Jean-Luc, I think a lot of us want him to be a space archaeologist, but he's just gonna be funding it. You know what I mean? It's like I want to be a Star Trek writer, but I don't have the discipline or the experience or like like the kind of like depth of work behind me. Like
yeah,
I haven't put in the dues, and I feel like Jean-Luc is the same way.
that could be
Like,
the same thing actually. I no, I agree with you. I think that you're probably right. Picard has this thing where like he can go on one archaeological dig now and then on like vacation, and he's very happy, and he loves holding his things and being all like, "Ooh,
yeah.
my archaeological thing," right? Like I
Speaking of
like it.
archaeology, look at
Mm,
the hat that he
mm,
pulls
mm.
up. Okay.
He likes his objects, but at
Yeah.
the end of the day, like he's not experienced or patient enough to be sitting in that dirt, like sweeping it for
Like he
hours on
doesn't
end.
do it day to day. He's not a like yeah, he's an
No.
enthusiast. He's like a and he
They asked
funds
him to take care of the weather, and he said no.
and also, Professor Galen gave him a chance and he still chose Starfleet. So I feel like his ultimate calling is Starfleet, but why not? He can
Well, I
support
also think
archaeology.
that Picard has a bit of a dangerous obsession with wanting to speech people and be right about things.
Yeah, I think you're probably a dangerous. It's a dangerous
No,
obsession.
maybe not a dangerous one, but
What the
it
heck?
is a bit of an I guess like a I don't know, an impulsive or not an impulsive. I don't know. It's there. There's an obsession about that. He enjoys
he
that.
he has a knack for it, so I don't
Yeah,
know.
he
I
likes
don't.
it. He likes it. You know what I
He's-
mean?
it's-
I got to speech some species, yo.
Jean-Luc, you're dangerous. If you hear Jean-Luc go into a speech, stop him. No,
Stop him.
no, stop. You're dangerous. This is dangerous. Like we can't
Well,
hear
not
this speech.
anymore, because it might overload his positronic system now.
Could you overload Jean-Luc's positronic system? I wonder. That's
Could you
interesting.
out Picard him now?
Oh my goodness. Well,
You
as
know how you
usual, we
like
know
out computer and a computer? That's what Kirk does. Could you out Picard the Picard now?
we know
Like
it's
trying to
time to
hit him
end
with them
these discussions
when we go off the
when
rails.
we've gone off the rails completely. I don't know if there's anyone still in the audience. It says there's still 3 folks listening, so that's really nice. But,
Thank you for putting up with this.
thanks for putting up with this. But I love actually all these tangents, to be honest, and I miss streaming with you. So thank you for doing this and helping me catch up, Toddy. For this episode, my final thoughts are that every season Lower Decks has kind of up the ante or up the bar, and this season is certainly no exception to the rule. I found myself like laughing the most. Like, maybe the finale is when it all comes down to it, it might not be my favorite episode of the season, but it was the whole season is kind of like a photo finish race, if you will, as far as like which episodes are my favorites. Because I find this season, I just keep thinking of the whole season. Like, I'll just keep thinking of like different things that really do. Like the peanut hamper episode, I think might actually be my favorite
I think
episode
that's the
of
standout. I think that and the Deep
it's
Space
that and the
Nine,
Deep Space Nine episode were just such standouts, right? Yeah, it's
yeah,
true.
they will go down as
Yeah,
memorable episodes. They're not the
memorable
most
episodes.
well, Deep Space Nine is, but the Peanut Hamper is not the most appreciated episode.
Yeah, I know
It's
it
a
created.
controversial one,
It's
but
very controversial.
in that respect, it is the most memorable.
Right, it's true. It's very memorable. But so yeah, so this season's just been a delight. Like I have no problem watching the episodes again. I don't feel like, oh, like this is I've already done this. Like it was really delightful to go back and watch this episode. So I'm gonna give this episode a 10, a solid 10, and wrap up the whole.
Holy hell! Hot diggity damn! A
It's
10.
like, no
That's high.
surprise. Yeah. So let's hear what your rating is, and maybe
You're
I'll
gonna
have
be
to
shocked.
offset it.
You'll be appalled. I think that's I disagree. I think that this is the weakest season of Lower Decks so far.
Wow.
Although, like, I know that sounds dramatic and extravagant. It really isn't that much. It just so happens to be the one that I like the least, but I still love all 3 seasons. So, like, this is not like we're going to the bottom of like the ladder here. Like, we're still on the top, levels, the top levels of the ladder. It's high. I love it. But this is the weakest one. I think that this season, generally speaking, just relied too much on like what we've come to expect, know, and love from Lower Decks. And so, I mean, you could argue, hey, look, they have a formula that works. If you follow that formula, it's still going to work. It's just that I was expecting sometimes a little more. And that's why I think like the Deep Space Nine episode, the Peanut Hamper episode, I think they challenged my view of what like Lower Decks can be or can deliver a little more than say like something like this episode. And so that's why I think they're more of standouts. And yeah, I think this episode is one of the weakest of the season, if not the weakest of the season. So I come in here with my criticisms of what the Mariner thing, of the AI thing, and it all sounds very harsh, but it's what I like the least in the entire season. I love
Right
most of what's going on. So yeah, I would give this a 6.
Oh, okay. Well, at least it's above a 5. That's good. Can we? I'm gonna have
There
to
are
be.
very few episodes in Lower Decks. I'm looking at this. There's like only one that went below 5.
What was that one? Which one did you?
Oh, you're totally gonna disagree.
Let's hear
I
it.
gave it
Let's
a
hear.
4.
Which one?
It's the Speak of the Truth episode, the trial one from season 1.
Oh, I mean, I don't give it a 4, but I could see how you gave that. I'm surprised you gave that one a 4, actually.
It's so shit.
Really? Is
Yeah.
it like I don't remember? I have to go back and watch that discussion with you because I feel like we discussed that one. I don't
I think
remember
we
you
probably
hating.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those were the
It's
days, Toddy. We used to discuss every week. It was really it's such
oh, he's reminiscing now. It's a whole other discussion as to why I gave that a 4.
That's
But no,
interesting.
I think
Yeah, that's
generally
interesting.
speaking, there were very few episodes.
I probably
Lower
gave that
Decks.
episode a 10. Just
Probably.
knowing
Just-
myself.
No, I think it's a very solid show, and I think
Yeah.
they accomplished a lot of good
That-
things.
That is in context of how you rate though, with other Star Trek series. I think like it's good to remind folks that that's like an exception to the rule. Like overall, you've been rating Lower Decks very high, and you really enjoy the show. But I will just say that I'm surprised. Like I feel like this is their best season, so I'm like a little surprised that you didn't think.
Okay,
that
well,
this,
if you're interested, like
Yeah.
the way I average these out, season 1 is 7.5,
Uh
season 2 is 8,
huh. Okay.
and season 3 is 7.3.
No,
So we're not far off. Come on.
I know it's very close.
You know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
I'm
when
gonna
they say it's my
veto.
least favorite. I'm like, yeah.
I'm gonna veto your 6 and raise my. I'm gonna raise my.
Man gives it a 12 to compensate.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly to bring the average. Speaking of averages, I'm gonna raise my rating to a 12. I hope I gave DS9 a bigger rating than a 12, but the DS9 episode, just to raise it up. Toddy, before so anyway, our ratings are silly anyways. They're just from the gut. They don't really mean anything. Well, mine don't, but yours.
We should
yours
actually. You should stop ratings and you should tier them out. S A B C D E F. You know what I mean?
SABDEF.
No, A B C D E F.
Oh, really?
But then S is top. So like you tier them out basically the episode. So you don't give them a numerical rating, but like where would you? Because like A is awesome, and then like A is the best, but then something that goes above and beyond gets the S, right?
I'd rather just go on to ABTG and talk about the same episode and then just give it an ABTG rating because those are actually pretty perfect. So, like I feel like that fulfills everything you need to know.
I don't
about,
think
like,
there's a lot
show.
of like Star Trek episodes that are absolute bullshit. to be
Yeah, it's
honest.
true. There's not a lot. No, it's good. Speaking of ABTG, what's going on that you've got to promote and tell the audience about? What are you doing online these days, sir?
Yeah, not much. ABTG is not defunct, but it's like it's on hiatus at the moment.
Did you watch the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special?
I have not watched the Guardians of the
Are you
Galaxy.
going to? Are you going to review it on
I will
ABTG?
probably watch it. I probably won't review it. I'm over it. I don't think people need to hear my kind of like
Your
thoughts
views.
about the MCU at the moment.
Ooh, did you watch Andor?
No, I haven't seen that.
Are you going to watch it?
I am going to watch Andor.
Okay, cool. Okay.
I got to a point where like 6 or 7 episodes had been released. I was like, you know what? I'll just wait till it all comes out and then I'll watch it. But I've been hearing only good things about Andor. I am a little skeptical because most of these only good things are from people that seem to think that Rogue One is like the best thing ever, and I disagree with that. But we'll see. But I'm intrigued. If Andor can deliver something at least as good as like The Mandalorian, then I'm on board. I'm sold. If it's something like the Book of Boba Fett,
it's nothing like the Book of Boba Fett. In fact, I saw a video of someone comparing the kind of cinematic conventions used in Andor and how those same conventions could have benefited the Book of Boba Fett. So,
oh wow,
in terms of flashbacks in particular and stuff like that. So,
well, the Book of Boba Fett has problems that go beyond cinematography.
No, I'm just saying cinematic conventions, like flash.
Oh, okay.
Certain way structurally, like how you do how you do it. So, and I have to say that like Andor's pretty
yes, because that is the biggest flaw of Book of Boba Fett. It doesn't know what the fuck it's doing at any given moment.
I still like it, but
completely lost.
But yeah, Andor is definitely leagues above it in terms of craft.
Well, yes, I will watch that. I won't review it. My review for Lower Deck season 3 will be coming out, as soon as I can. I'm hopefully going to be able to film it today, start my edit. Hopefully, I'll be able to put it out sometime soon, and then my Prodigy review will come out when Prodigy season 1 ends. I'm very, very excited to be finally doing this Prodigy review and tell people that they're wrong. They should start watching this thing.
Oh yeah, who's not watching it? Who's not watching it? Come on,
people don't care about it. Like
really?
Generally speaking, there's a lack of there's not enough interest in my opinion. going on.
Oh,
Not enough talk about. Yeah,
we'll have to fix that.
yeah, we'll have to
We
fix
need
that.
that review. We need that review.
I feel like it was dismissed from the get go, and they're like, "Nah, it's just a kids thing." It's not. It's really not. You should be watching this thing. So yeah,
I
man,
100% agree. Yeah.
I'm excited to put out my review for that. And yeah, that's what's going on. And otherwise, I'm just making music on my music channel.
Cool. Yeah. So check out, yeah, Toddy. Now YouTube makes it easier to tag people and stuff. So I'll tag you in the comments here so people can check you out. But it's also easy to find out whatever
We're
Toddy's
on
doing.
Hive, by the way.
Oh yeah, we're all so yeah. So you can find us on Twitter, and then I haven't been a good at Hive. Like I guess I didn't realize how much I use Twitter on desktop or just social media on desktop in general.
Yeah.
So I'm a desktopper, so I'm waiting for. I'll be more interactive on Hive when they release a desktop version. But so far, it's a nice place, and it seems like a lot of Trekkies went over to Hive. There seems to be a lot of Trekkies over there. So yeah,
it's a lot smaller. But no, for people that aren't interested with Twitter, but that want to keep their like Trekkie fandom going, yeah, we a lot of us have migrated to Hive.
Yeah, I'm on everything. You can find me on Instagram, TikTok. I like TikTok. I'm gonna go do a TikTok after this. Actually, it's a good idea. And anyways, but Toddy, thank you so much for joining me again. You are a lifesaver. This was the this was the missing link in my.
You could have had someone that enjoyed the episode more than me.
Oh, it doesn't matter to me. To me, it's not about whether you enjoyed it or not. Like I want you to, of course, as a Trekkie, I want everyone to enjoy Star Trek. So I'm always biased towards that. I'm always gonna try a little bit to convince you. But I think it's more interesting when you talk to someone who didn't like something that you liked, because you get to find out new things and new perspective. As long as you're not being rude about it, which you cross the line sometimes, but not today. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. You're fine. I think as long as you're not rude about it, why not share your opinion? I think you're very good at.
Yeah, I really need to come on here and like insult everyone that worked on the show. I need to be terrible like that, right? That's.
I'm just gonna say that kind of used to happen with all of us, but maybe we've grown and gotten better, like the lower deckers that we love. So no, it's true though. That's a good point. But yeah, I think if anyone's open, especially creators, thank you to those who actually tune in sometimes and engage with us online. It's very encouraging, but also
I think we've gotten better at balancing like our disagreements with like creative decisions and like I guess the individuals that created that thing in particular. You know what I mean?
Right. It's easy to go. I mean, I think I've been like, just to kind of like, I've always kind of taken the stance of like, how can you blame just one aspect of like why would you just blame? I mean, like there are times where you would just blame the writer, but someone approved it. Like someone looked at it and thought, this is a great idea. Let's make it on. Let's print it. Like so it's not just.
But on the other hand, I do think that it is fair to say like there are episodes that are clearly better written. Or there are episodes that are clearly better directed.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I'm saying like I think people tend to blame the writers for everything. No, it's true. Like I don't know if you noticed, it's like, oh, the writers are bad, replace the writers. So it's not always the writers, and that's just like what I've been trying to say. Like that's why I try to go after the show in general and say like the show made a bad decision. That includes like everyone who works on it.
I also think, and perhaps maybe I was guilty of this at a certain point, but I also think it's easier to blame the writers because you don't have a face often to attach to them. Whereas you're watching actors, it's more difficult to be like, that person is shit. You know what I mean? Because like,
yeah, like why would you even say that in the first place? But yeah.
No, or like
that unless they really are shit. Like some people
did a bad job. That's it. Right, exactly. Not that extreme. That person did a bad job. It's more like I guess it feels more of an attack because you're pointing out a specific person that's on screen. You have no rapport relationship, but you've seen them. Whereas writers are kind of like, oh, it's the writers. It almost feels like it's like this inanimate like cloud of things happening. They create the show in the background. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, exactly. So, anyways, but we don't do that here on Starfleet Boys, so I discourage it. Uh, so, thank you, audience, whoever stuck around. We'll be back soon. I'm trying to catch up on my discussions. We still have Prodigy discussions to catch up on, but as I said,
We're gonna do
Saturdays.
them all today.
Ooh, can we?
All of them.
Really?
From here to like 4 o'clock this afternoon, we're just gonna be
I
talking.
mean, I have till 2. Well, okay. Anyways, audience, we'll see you next. Well, Toddy and I might be back in a few minutes. Live long and prosper, and we'll see you